The following is a true scary story, found on the subreddit Let's Not Meet. I'll have a link in the description below if you'd like to read along with me. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you can catch all of my future content. I also have a very important message at the end of this video, so please make sure you watch that, especially if you plan on submitting. And without any further ado, let's begin. About 10 years ago, I hit a rough patch in life and moved back into my dad's house for a bit. The house backs up against a mountain and sits above street level with narrow stairs up to the front door. No one uses these stairs as they are a death trap. There is no railing and a 10-foot drop from the top of the stairs to the gravel below. Also, the security door opens outwards, which I've warned my dad plenty of times is just a lawsuit from some delivery guy waiting to happen. When people that actually know my dad come by, they use the sliding glass door in the back. It's the only other entrance, and is accessed by walking up an insanely steep driveway on the other side of the house that leads to the back patio and detached garage. The location is gorgeous, but the area is shit. Drug addicts, gang activity, and nearby gunshots are not uncommon. I've been assaulted at the gas station down the street. My dad and many neighbors have been robbed. There have been carjackings, murders, etc. It's just a terrible, shitty part of the city. It was early summer and boiling hot, with temperatures easily close to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. My dad is a cheapskate and wouldn't turn on the AC. Instead, we had every window in the house open so we wouldn't die of heat exhaustion. I was in the office on the computer, and my dad was in his bedroom packing for a business trip. Both rooms are at the front of the house, with large windows about 12 feet above the ground outside. A woman that looked homeless was walking down the sidewalk and stopped in front of our house. She stared for a few moments, then started walking towards the stairs and called out to us through the open windows. I ignored her, not wanting to encourage further engagement, but she started to climb the stairs. As I was mentally prepping myself to eject this addict off the stairs, I heard my dad yell through his window, "Hey, don't use those stairs! They're dangerous!" Her response freaked me out. "Yeah, I know." It made my hair stand on edge, and I got up to get a better look at her. It was definitely a homeless tweaker. Her clothes and face were dirty, hair matted. She looked like she hadn't eaten or slept in weeks. If I had to guess her age, I'd put her close to mine, but she looked like she was 70. She stepped onto the rocks and moved closer to my dad's window. "I used to live here," she yelled. "In that room," and pointed at the room I was standing in. My clueless father responded to her happily and begins conversing with the drug addict, like it's nothing out of the ordinary. I will admit, it is entirely possible that she was being truthful. However, I doubted it and figured this woman was attempting to case the house for a future robbery. I was glaring at her through the office window. She kept glancing at me nervously as she inched back towards the stairs, continuing to talk to my dad about how much she loved living there as a kid. After a few minutes of chit-chat, she asked, "Can I come in and take a look at the place? I want to see my old room." And she pointed at the office again. My frickin' dad, instead of just saying no and telling her to leave, he says, "Sorry, I'm busy packing for a trip. I'll be back in a week if you want to come back by then." She smiled, looked right at me, and asked if I'd be gone all week too. My heart began pounding like it was trying to escape my chest. Everything just kinda went red. I was angry and scared and felt oddly violated by this woman staring at me. I slammed the window closed and left the room. Sometime between then and having to take my dad to the airport a few hours later, I managed to calm down and gather my thoughts. I was livid with my dad. I had an amazing week planned for myself while he was away, consisting of pajamas and not leaving the couch for several days. But my plans were suddenly ruined by my clueless father and my own fear. It was bad enough he didn't think twice about conversing with the creepy tweaker that was likely casing our home, but he then divulged that he would be gone for the next week. There was no way I'd be staying in our house alone anymore. I called my boyfriend and asked to stay with him. Being 100% sure that the house would get robbed that week, I brought my cat and as many of mine and my dad's valuables as I could over to my boyfriend's and stayed there for the next several days. Surprisingly, we didn't get robbed, and the night before my dad was coming home, I decided to stay at home. First, I really wanted my alone time. I'm one of those people that just needs solitude every now and then. I'd also had a few days to calm down and relax. I was starting to realize how crazy it'd be to pick up my dad from the airport the next morning with all of our valuables and the cat in the car. My boyfriend offered to stay with me, but I declined. Since my dad was gone, I had the AC running and all the windows and doors shut and locked. I ordered takeout, got drunk, and fell asleep watching crap TV. It was wonderful. I woke up at around 2. From the couch I could look out my living room window and see the top of the driveway and the front of the garage. The motion light on the drive was on, which didn't concern me too much. Being at the base of a mountain, wildlife like coyotes and jabalina were common. Regardless, I laid still, staring out the window. I felt silly for being scared of nothing, but I still didn't move. Once the light went out, I got up to grab a 2-liter and sat on the couch in the dark, enjoying the opportunity to be uncivilized and drink directly from the bottle. My moment of joy was cut short when out of the corner of my eye, I saw movement on the driveway and the motion light flicked back on. Terrified, listening to my ears ringing and my heart pounding, I sat frozen on the couch, gripping the 2-liter bottle for dear life. After what felt like hours, the motion light went off again. I slowly got up and crept to the kitchen where I could see out the back door. There was nothing there. I told myself to calm down. I'd been imagining things. Laughing at myself for being ridiculous, I opened the refrigerator to put the soda away, bathing the kitchen in a harsh yellow light. Then I heard it. The unmistakable sound of a fingernail tapping on glass. Soft at first, then faster and louder. The glass door was rattling against its frame. Frozen in fear, I stood in front of the open refrigerator, 2-liter in hand, listening to the horror that was just behind me. I could not make myself turn around and look. I knew they could see me, but I didn't want to see them. That would have made it all too real. Being keenly aware that the person tapping on the door was only 10 feet away, separated by nothing more than a glass door and a few long strides, I did what any rational 5-foot, 100-pound, 20-something female could do in the situation. I dropped the soda and ran for my life towards the front door. All I could think about was getting to the neighbor ZZ's house. He was a massive biker with a ZZ Top beard and a shotgun. He was also a tweaker and likely to be awake. I fumbled with the lock on the front door. Finally hearing a click, I yanked the door open. What greeted me nearly gave me a heart attack. The homeless tweaker lady was standing at the top of the front stairs with her nose pressed against the security door, smiling with her sickly black-toothed tweaker smile, and giggling. Despite all of the previous warnings I'd given to my dad about the stairs getting him sued, I was suddenly very relieved that the security door opened outwards onto narrow steps without railing. The tweaker woman didn't even realize what was happening until it was too late. I unlocked the security door and pushed against it as hard as I could, knocking her backwards. She lost her balance, and she fell onto the gravel below. I took off running down the steps and across the street to Zizi's house, afraid to look back, and smashed myself into his door. Time stood still as I banged my fist against it, desperate for him to answer. When the door finally flung open, I didn't even get a word out before Zizi was running past me, shotgun in hand, followed by one of his biker friends. Moments later, standing in the doorway was Zizi's wife, who was trying to calm me down. I was finally able to look back towards my dad's house and saw Zizi and his friend chasing the tweaker lady up my dad's driveway. Other neighbors started to appear outside with us. Someone handed me a drink, which I gladly accepted. People were asking me questions, but I wasn't paying much attention. I have no idea how long Zizi and his friend were gone. Time wasn't exactly moving as it should be. But they did come back unscathed, and the shotgun was never fired. They said they chased the woman and one other person a short ways up the mountain, but lost them in the dark. They had also searched the house on their way down. It was empty, but the back door was broken open. In that neighborhood, you don't call the cops. It's just how it works there. And if you do call, they don't even come half of the time, so we didn't bother. My dad's friend Gary lived a few doors away and took me back to his place, where I spent the rest of the night drinking with his wife. Gary crashed on my dad's couch to make sure no one came back, and then he picked up my dad from the airport in the morning. There is a part of me that thinks they weren't just there to rob the house. It was empty for almost a week, so they had the opportunity to get in and out easily. Instead, they waited, probably watching from somewhere up on the mountain, until I was home alone, so they could make their move. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you can catch all of my future content. If you're looking for even more scary videos to watch, head over to my other channel, Fear Your Maker. I'll have a link in the description. So as a lot of you may have noticed, I no longer have an active Facebook account. That is not by choice. Facebook actually disabled my account because I didn't use my actual name as my username. I wanted to use my YouTube name. That being said, they deleted every submission that I had on there as well. I can't even get back into the account to even change the name. So if you submitted through there, I apologize, but I'm not going to have it anymore. I don't know if you are able to access the message through there, but if you are, feel free to forward it via email, which I'll have a link in the description. If you don't want to type it out, I completely understand. I'm just as frustrated about this as you guys. I really appreciate your patience, and hope you enjoyed this video. And just remember, it's always scarier if it's true.